Pause between sentences for contemplation. Have you ever wondered, why does something as peaceful as meditation feel so uncomfortable at first? Why does your mind suddenly become louder the moment you try to quiet it? Why does the simple act of sitting still feel like a battle with yourself? This conflict isn't random. It isn't a flaw in your practice. It isn't a sign that you're bad at meditation. There is a deeper reason, a reason woven into the very structure of the human mind. Your ego, that familiar inner voice that is always commenting, analyzing, worrying, and defending, has a secret. A secret it doesn't want you to discover. The secret is this: meditation threatens the survival of the ego. Imagine a candle flame flickering in a dark cave. As long as the cave is filled with darkness, the flame feels important. It feels like the center of everything. But when the sun rises and light fills the cave, the little flame no longer seems so significant. Meditation is the rising sun, and the ego is the flickering flame. When you sit down to meditate, the flame senses the light approaching, and it panics. It resists. It fights. It floods you with noise. Not because meditation is wrong, but because truth does not serve the ego. Today, we explore why the ego hates meditation and what that means for your inner freedom. Meditation is often presented as peaceful, gentle, and calming. And yes, over time, it becomes exactly that. But in the beginning, it exposes a hidden struggle happening inside every human mind. To understand this, let's use a metaphor from nature. Imagine a pond. On its surface, the water is constantly disturbed. Winds, ripples, floating leaves. Most people live their entire lives on the surface level of the mind. Thoughts, emotions, reactions. These ripples become their entire world. The ego is the creature that lives only on the surface, constantly scanning for movement. Surfacing thoughts give it something to latch onto, something to judge, something to do. Now imagine meditation as a slow dive beneath the surface, a descent into quiet depth. What happens when you try to dive? The creature of the surface begins to panic. It wants movement. It wants noise. It wants problems to solve. It wants identity, story, drama, and control. And so it fights. This is why the moment you sit down to meditate, the ego unleashes waves of thoughts. I should be doing something else. This is a waste of time. I can't focus. I'm not doing this right. These are not random thoughts. These are defense mechanisms, because to the ego, stillness is threatening. Stillness means you are stepping out of the surface world where it rules. Stillness means you're beginning to sense the deeper, quieter dimension beneath all thinking. Stillness means the ego loses its power. Here's another metaphor. Consider a spinning wheel. While it spins fast, it appears solid, like a perfect circle. But when it slows down, you can see the gaps between the spokes. Meditation slows the mind just enough for you to see the gaps, moments of silence between thoughts. And in those tiny gaps, the illusion of the ego begins to break. This is the struggle, not with meditation, but with the ego's fear of disappearing. Everything uncomfortable about meditation arises from this one truth. Here is the turning point, the shift. The ego does not hate meditation because meditation is difficult. It hates it because meditation reveals the ego is not you. This is the moment everything changes. The struggle you feel during meditation is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you are finally observing the ego from the outside. You are no longer lost inside the story. It becomes something you can witness, like watching clouds drift across the sky, like noticing waves crest and fall while you sit safely on the shore. When you meditate long enough, you begin to see something extraordinary. Thoughts rise and fade on their own. Emotions pass like weather. Memories appear and dissolve. Fears shout and then sink back into silence. And through it all, something remains unchanged. That still, spacious awareness underneath it all. The quiet presence that watches without judgment. The open sky beneath every cloud. The depth below every ripple. This is the moment the ego fears most. The moment you realize you are the sky, not the cloud. The ocean, not the wave. The awareness, not the thought. Once this insight begins to dawn, meditation transforms. It stops feeling like a battle. It becomes more like coming home. And the ego, unable to maintain its old position, begins to soften. Not disappear, just soften. It becomes a tool, not a master. This is the shift. A simple but profound recognition. The ego resists meditation only until it realizes you no longer believe everything it says. From that moment on, meditation becomes a doorway instead of a struggle. A doorway into the quiet truth of who you are. Now we arrive at the heart of today's teaching. The ego hates meditation because meditation reveals the ego is not the center of your being. Instead, meditation reveals something untouched by thought, fear, or identity. Let's break this into simple truths. Truth number 1. The ego survives through noise. The ego feeds on stimulation, past, future, comparison, judgment. Meditation starves it of this noise. In silence, the ego loses its footing. This is why your mind grows louder the moment you close your eyes. It is a survival reaction. Truth number 2. The ego is afraid of the present moment. The present moment is open, quiet, and borderless. The ego prefers the known, stories, problems, definitions. But meditation brings you into presence, into what is real, not imagined. And the ego cannot exist fully in the present. Truth number 3. Meditation shows you are the observer, not the voice. This is the turning point of spiritual awakening. When you observe a thought, you realize there is a watcher behind the thought. That watcher is the real you, silent, aware, untouched. Meditation strengthens the watcher, and the ego knows that when the watcher awakens, its power weakens. Truth number 4. Your ego is not your enemy. This is important. The ego hates meditation, but that does not make it bad. The ego is simply a tool for navigating the world. It helps you plan, communicate, create, and express individuality. But when the tool believes it is the master, suffering begins. Meditation restores balance. It reminds you of your true nature, spacious awareness, not the voice inside your head. Imagine your consciousness as a room. In the center sits a small lamp, the ego casting shadows on the walls. As long as the lamp is the only source of light, the shadows look real. But meditation opens the windows, letting in daylight. When the room fills with natural light, the shadows lose their power. Meditation is the daylight. Your ego resists meditation because meditation brings you into truth. Truth reveals your freedom from thought. Freedom dissolves fear, and fear is the ego's foundation. So, when meditation feels uncomfortable, remember, discomfort is not the enemy. It is the sign that you are waking up. Before we end, let's return to the essential question. If the ego hates meditation, how should you approach your practice? With gentleness, with patience, with understanding. Meditation is not a battle against your ego. It is a return to your true nature. Here is a simple practice you can carry with you. Sit comfortably. No pressure, no expectations. Take one slow breath in and one slow breath out. Let your shoulders release. Notice the first thought that appears. Don't judge it. Don't resist it. Just acknowledge it like a cloud passing by. Gently return your attention to your breath or your body. Not forcing, simply returning. This is the key. Meditation is not about eliminating thoughts. It is about returning to awareness again and again. Every return weakens the ego's grip. Every return strengthens the watcher within you. Every return brings you closer to the quiet truth of who you are. The ego hates meditation because meditation reveals you are not the ego. But with consistent practice, the ego grows less fearful. It becomes quieter, softer, more cooperative, and eventually it stops fighting. You begin to live from a deeper place, from presence, clarity, compassion, and spacious awareness. So the next time meditation feels uncomfortable, the next time the mind becomes loud, the next time your ego resists, smile gently, because now you know the truth. Your discomfort is not a sign to stop. It is the sign that you are on the right path. Meditation is the doorway, awareness is the destination, and peace is the natural result. Walk gently, breathe slowly, and return home to yourself.